Hi, my favorite readers. It's Miss M here. Today I wanted to read to you one of my favorite stories to read around the holidays. It's called La Noche, Buena, and it's a Christmas story written by Antonio Sacre and illustrated by Angela Dominguez. And this copy is super special to me because it was signed by the author. So it actually says, to Miss Mirander's future classroom, Mr. Sacre, Antonio, signed this book for me before I actually had my own classroom. So it says, to Miss Mirander's future classroom, I wish you many lovely meals with your families. Keep reading. Your friend, Antonio Sacre, 2014. So 6 years ago, he signed this book for me. When I arrive at my abuela Mimi's house, it is hot. Too hot for making snowmen, too hot for ice skating, too hot for evergreens. My abuela, my grandmother, lives in a neighborhood called Little Havana in Miami, Florida. Palm trees sway overhead. How will Santa land his sleigh in this heat? As much as I love my Cuban grandmother, and as many times as she tells me I'm her favorite nieta or granddaughter, I'd rather be up north for Christmas with my mother, my other grandmother, all of my up north cousins, and snow. Lots and lots of snow. It's my dad's turn to have me, and he wants me to see how the Cuban side of my family celebrates the holidays. He says La Noche Buena, Christmas Eve, is the best night of the year in many Cuban homes. But he won't even be there. He has to work out of town and will come back on Christmas Day. Mimi tells me that the preparations start tomorrow and she needs my help. She speaks in Spanish because she says she's too old to learn English. That's what she tells me. She says I'm young enough to speak both. She tucks me into bed. Her wrinkly cheek feels soft on my chin. The next morning she wakes me and brings me into the kitchen. It is full of women. My aunts and girl cousins stand at the long counter and everybody works. They peel onions, they chop onions, and they cry. They teach me how to peel the onions. Then I cry, and they laugh. They sort beans. They peel and chop garlic. Their fingers move so fast I can barely see what they do. They teach me how to peel garlic. I get little dedos of garlic everywhere. They laugh. Mimi whirls around and in between us, gathering ingredients and tossing them in a large cast iron pot. She adds olive oil and sour orange peels and cumin and oregano, and then stirs it all up with a long wooden spoon. And friends, I want you to make a prediction. What meal do you think that they are cooking or preparing for here? Using all those ingredients they shared. What meal? Make a prediction. What do you think they're going to prepare? Mimi dips her pinky into the pot. Get your pinkies ready. Dip it into the pot to taste what she's made. The women stop chopping and cutting and laughing, hold their breath, and watch her. She pulls out her finger covered with spicy oil. She smells it, dabs it on her tongue, and smiles. Ah. They all exhale and let out a huge laugh. She pours the liquid from the pot into a large glass jar. Nina, Miita, the first batch is ready. Take this jar of marinade to your Uncle Tito's house. So what they were making was marinade for, I think, a meat that they might be preparing. Where does he live? I reply in Spanish. Just walk out the front door and open your ears. She hands me the heavy jar, kisses me on the cheek, and pushes me out of the kitchen. I walk out the front door. I listen. At first, I only hear the cars going by on Calle Ocho. Then I hear a dog barking and loud birds above me. I look toward the sound and see colorful parrots. Then I hear shouting and laughing. I walk down the street toward the sound, struggling with the jar. The sun is rising and it feels hotter than yesterday. I see my uncle in the backyard of a house. All my uncles and boy cousins are there. They stand around a huge pit in the ground with a massive fire at the bottom that's burning high into the sky. A few other men gather at a large bathtub back by the fence. Vino, Nina, mi sobrina, ven acá. Uncle Tito calls me over to him. He takes the jar from my hands, sets it on the ground, lifts me in the air, and twirls me around and around. He smells like cigar smoke and campfire. Ugh. And his bristly chin tickles my cheek. Nina, you got tall. You'll be taller than me soon. I don't believe him because he's really tall, but it makes me happy. The men take the marinade. One of them carefully pours it into the bathtub in the backyard. Uncle Tito takes 2 thick wooden sticks and pushes them deep in the ground on either side of the pit. "What are you doing?" I ask. "Well, Nina, I'm making a spit to hold the pig we will roast over the next 3 days for the Noche Buena meal. Hand me that pole." I help my cousin Papito carry a long pole over toward Uncle Tito. He holds it over the 2 wooden sticks and carefully lowers it into the notches. It fits perfectly, and all the men cheer. Woohoo! "Why are they cheering?" I ask Papito. He's my age, but I'm taller than he is. He's the first one to get the pole into the notches and not drop it into the fire, Papito replies. "Vaya niña," says Uncle Tito. "We need more of Mimi's marinade, and you are the only one who can go. Mimi won't let any of us men into the kitchen, and we won't let any of the women by the fire." I wonder why. "They need you in the kitchen, but we need you here too. You will have to go back and forth many times over the next few days." Go ahead and do this with me. Back and forth, back and forth. So Nina has to go back and forth to her uncle and her tia's house, delivering the marinade to the men who are making the pig roast. He's right. For the next 3 days, I peel onions and garlic in the kitchen. My aunts and abuela chop them up, and I listen to them tell stories about Cuba. I bring countless jars of marinades to the men who pour it over the roasting pig, and I listen to them talk about American football. All over the neighborhood, other families do the same. On the street between the houses, I meet other boys and girls my age carrying marinade to their uncles. We all smell like campfire and garlic. I love that line. We taste one another's marinades by dipping our little pinkies, get your pinkies ready, into the jars and dabbing them on our tongues. We tell stories about our families and laugh so hard. We promise to visit each other during La Noche Buena. So this is kind of a tradition for a lot of Cuban households. Finally, La Noche Buena arrives. Feast time! I help my abuela set up a table outside as the sun sets and turns the clouds red and orange. Then we change our clothes. I wear a brand new dress that Mimi gives me. She tells me that I look lovely. I tell her she looks beautiful. Then everyone comes, all my aunts wearing colorful dresses and my uncles dressed in brand new guayabera shirts with their shoes sparkling. With them come my cousins, also dressed in their best. Mimi sends me and Papito out to gather fruit from the trees in the neighborhood. We pluck limes for the meat, lemons for the water, avocados for the salad, and mangoes for dessert, all right from the trees to our table. When we get back to the table, it's covered with mounds of food with the roasted pig in the center. Everybody yells and laughs, and then we all sit down to the feast. I want to eat right away, but Papito whispers, "Shh, we have to wait for the toasts." The toasts begin with the best storytellers in the family giving thanks for a great year. Then Mimi, at the head of the table, holds her glass in the air and the table falls silent. Her big brown eyes glisten as she says, "Let us give thanks to all those here and those who are not here. We are happy to be alive and we miss those who have passed away, but we are happy that Jesus will be born soon. We are grateful for this pig and this family and the table and our laughter together. We are thankful, especially for our laughter." So that's our abuela. Oh no, Mimi, that's Mimi. And then I finally get to eat. Look at that picture. I love this illustration. How do you think Nina finally feels when she gets to taste all the delicious food they've been working on for days? Probably pretty happy. She looks pretty happy. And then I finally get to eat. It's the most magnificent meal I have ever eaten. I eat plate after plate. Then the neighbors come by and Mimi feeds them. Afterward, we go to their house and they feed us. It's a huge traveling party eaten in many different backyards for many hours. I have never eaten so much or so well. She loved her food. Finally, the food is put away and we all go to the Misa del Gallo, the Rooster's Mass at midnight, where I walk around the church to hug every single member of the congregation, just like everyone else does. By the time we all get back to the house, I am so happy and so tired. So grandparents. Then Uncle Tito turns on the old record player and grabs my hands, and everyone starts dancing. The music barely stops, but when it does, my aunts and uncles tell more stories and jokes. And as the sun rises on Christmas Day after La Noche Buena, the good night, everybody finally goes home, tired but happy. As my abuela tucks me into bed, I ask her, may I come next year? And can I bring all my cousins from up north? She smiles and says, mijita, nothing would make me happier. My dad is right. This is the best night of the year, and I can't wait to tell him so. Y colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. The end. Thank you for listening, friends.